Hello everyone, this is Taryn with Wonderfully Made Handcrafting, and today I'm doing a flip through of my gratitude project for 2022. This project was hosted by the Well for God. We were looking at the different attributes of God and going through one a day for the full 30 days. Now I did do a flip through of my first half of this accordion book, but I will quickly go through it again as we look through the whole thing. I made an accordion book with some Kraft-Tex, which I talk a little bit about in other videos. I will try to link all the videos for this project down below in the description. But Kraft-Tex is this beautiful product. It is like a fabric paper that you can wash and dry and you can dye. It was just beautiful to work with. I did sew different pieces together as I dyed them differently, and it just didn't have a big piece as I needed. And so just sewing them together really made this fun look with a bunch of strings. I like to leave my strings hanging. I just like the look of that. And so I just left that the way it was. I also added a bunch of photos in my project because that makes it personal to me and makes me really want to work through this project even more. Just adding a different fall pictures and whatnot of when I was a kid, or when my kids were littler. Even I feel like they're still little, but they are growing up. And so just to reminisce and look at those old photos and adding them to this project really made it personal and something that I can display for years to come as a decoration for fall. So anyways, let's jump into this. Now for this project, every single day has a couple of the same things. I used my Dymo label maker and made that the word, the attribute that we were studying that day. And I also included verses for each one of these. These corresponded wonderfully with the attributes and were provided in a little PDF form from By the Well for God for free on their website. In case you want to do this project at a later time, it's a great project. It doesn't have to be for fall, doesn't have to be for a gratitude project. I mean, we are grateful for all the attributes that God is. But this could just be a study, and in more depth study, you could definitely do. So check that out as well, and let's kind of look through this. So the first half I already did, like I said, I will link that video down below as well. But I just loved adding some vintage touches alongside the overflowing ephemera, as well as photos. Now this has a little tea bag that By the Well for God sold. I believe it was during the summer months, and I just thought it worked perfectly because there was a little teacup there in the ephemera. This is a photo that my mom took as a teenager at her house. I also included a lot of book pages and different vintage ephemera pieces from my House of Books subscription. It was a wonderful project to add those to. I love this tag. This is probably my favorite. It's a picture of my dad, and I just love all the texture it has, and just adding this little pin at the top to hold my verses, and the little wood slice kind of, what is it called? Embossing folder that I used as well. That's a newer one. I also loved this one. This one was a fun little rust project that I did, and that can be seen. All of these actually can be seen on my Instagram. I did post for every single one of the days and every single one of the tags this past month. It was a big project to take on, but I was really happy to complete it. And so yeah, go check those out on Instagram. So we have some vellum over some antique book pages in here. Then I have some glossy accents over these apples to make them look a little bit more realistic. I love this one too. This is a picture of my brother before I was even born, and some vintage, I think it's Greek book paper in here. Now these are what are the mica spray stains? I always want to mess up that name, but I sprayed them on a non-stick mat and stamped these leaf stamps. These were from October's kit. They were an add-on stamp set from By the Well for God, and I absolutely love them. I love the detail of them, and they just stamped beautifully with the mica stains or spray stains. Then I added a little tag because I didn't want to take away from the leaves, and so this made it able to, you know, put those verses on without covering more of the tag up. Now, some of these were huge words, and so I wanted to put them on vertically instead of horizontally on the tag because they wouldn't fit. And so we could just kind of change it up. I also had this one that was made with washi tape that someone gifted me. I loved the background that it created with that, like, it's like almost a newspaper washi tape. Then we have some more photos that I took of sunflowers a number of years ago. Added some book spines from my House of Books subscription. This one is beautiful. I don't know if you can call your stuff beautiful, but I just love this picture of my daughter. I did use some mica tiles in the specimen slide, and I alcohol inked them to make them look even more aged. So this is definitely one of my favorites as well. I just love adding mica tiles to these. Then we have a little bit of texture with fabric on this tag. I loved the blankets, so I decided I would add some more texture with that. I also stitched my paper in little X's everywhere. I have a little thing right there. This one is some crocheted like a doily that I had in my House of Books subscription. This is also the fabric that was an add-on with this kit. I just sewed it onto the tag. So that's the first half. And then to go to the second half, which you haven't seen before, is you just kind of fold back this cover. That's how the accordion book works. So you have this whole side, and then you're going to actually have this whole side, two different sides. So anyways, back cover, then you kind of just flip this open. I used some of the yarn that came with the tag set on this one. This one, Omnipotent, didn't want to fit horizontally either, so I decided to make it vertical with a bunch of different fabrics and this blue pumpkin. This one has this plaid dye from Tim Holtz. This is a newer Tim Holtz dye as well. I decided to make it look really fall-y with this scarecrow and the colors of the plaid. I also took some of that muslin fabric that By the Well for God sells separately and just frayed it. It frays beautifully. And I sent it through my typewriter. This was the first project that I started sending fabric through my typewriter. Now I have an older vintage typewriter that works beautifully. It takes so much stuff. I kind of beat it up a little bit. It is called an Olivetti Studio 46. Sorry, I had to look at the name because I always mess it up. But it does a beautiful job. I would say if you have a chance to get a vintage typewriter, I have loved mine and it's worked wonderfully. It's probably not as vintage as it could be. I mean, obviously it isn't. I'm not even going to guess the year. So anyways, this one was really fun. This is something that I've done in the past, but it has this, what is it called? Duralar film that is like a heat resistant acetate. And I used some of the Tim Holtz paper behind it. And then when you look at it, you just kind of, you put some embossing ink down, and then I use the embossing glaze from Tim Holtz, so it's see-through, and you can see the papers beneath it. Now, my other project that I didn't do such a heavy couple layers of embossing glaze so you could see it better, but I love the look of it. It makes it look like caramel or candy or spilled coffee. I don't know. I just absolutely love this technique. If you have a chance to do it, it's really fun. Super simple tag. This one, I just decided to make little stars up here and keep it really simple with some lace and just making the photo the main point of this tag. So there's that one. This one, we have a bunch of layering with some muslin or cheesecloth. This was, I think it's just mummy cloth, sorry, from Tim Holtz. And then I stamped a little Take It. That was an add-on stamp set this month. And then we use those big numerics. That was really fun to do as well. And I used the same paper that I used back here. So I tried to use things up. That was a great thing about this project, is it was easy to use different pieces and to reincorporate them throughout the tag set. This was a postcard that I did get through my House of Books subscription from Thanksgiving 1911. Someone had sent it, and so I had to cut it because it was obviously too big for the tag, but you'll see how I used it in a couple tags. So this one is that dyeable muslin that By the Well for God sells. I decided to dye it with my Lindy's sprays and also ground espresso spray stain from Tim Holtz. I did a little markings with some stitching, hand stitching, added a little lace and this label. This one basically could speak for itself. It was just a photo of my oldest daughter when she was little. I really didn't want to take away from this, so I used some of this dyeable muslin right here. And then this is actually some of the fabric that came on one of the bow clippies. I didn't want to take away any more from this tag because I love that photo, so I decided to add another one of these tags that I created with the verses for this tag. Here's that postcard. This is the other half, 1911, Saginaw, Michigan. I added my verses up here. You can still read the writing. I am in Saginaw and having a good time. That was the whole entire postcard. That's all they wanted to say. But anyways, this tag, we're talking about how God is sovereign. I did use some of that book spine in the back as well. This is a leaf that I created with one of the Thinlits dies and some of the Creative Expressions gilding flakes. Now I had done this for a different project and I had one leaf left, and so I decided to add it to this one. I also used some gilding polish on the outer edges to bring in that gold a little bit more. I hope you can see it, but this was a fun, easy tag since I already had that leaf. Okay, this one is another picture of just my two oldest kids, and I just kept it simple by adding a little fabric, some of the verses. We're talking about how God is truthful in this one. Now you'll see these gilding flakes again in this tag. This was really cool to make a background and just a statement piece. And then adding the same kind of things on this tag to, make them look nice together as you're looking through this book. The last little page of this book is a picture of my brother and I when we were really little. I was probably, 17 months, 16 months old. And then adding some more of that muslin cloth that I had dyed. So I'm just continuing to use all these different little pieces, no matter how small, because these tags are small. So it made it very easy to do. And then this last one is very simple as well. I'm using that Tim Holtz paper because I had enough left over to create one. I did this little edge punch from We Are Memory Keepers. And then to finish it off, I really wanted to use the texture paste through one of those stencils that By the Well for God provided this month to go along with the overflowing kit. And so I decided to do that just in the bottom left-hand corner. And then this little booklet is done. I loved working through this. Like I said, it's an accordion book, so I can have it all out like this. It's very big, so you won't be able to see it all. But you can also, prop it up on a table. You can even make it a centerpiece for your Thanksgiving table every year. So you could look at the different attributes of God and what we're thankful for, and just see different photos. You could also just make it a photo accordion book in the future and have that be a centerpiece. But I love these little accordion books. This is definitely pretty chunky. It lays fairly flat. I probably could have used a little bit more chunk on this side, just a hair. It just leans just ever so slightly. You wouldn't really be able to tell, but it, for the most part, lays pretty flat. So it could just also sit on a coffee table for someone to look through. I love looking through different craft projects, and I think it's fun for guests and whatnot to look through them. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed this flip through of this gratitude project. I hope you also got to see all the reels that I created for all the tags. I really enjoyed working through this kit, and I'm ready to start on December. If you want to see any of the videos that are linked to this project, I will try to link them down below in the description. And thank you so much. Have a great day, guys. Bye.